How do folks, Buds here. I've got a really quick tip or trick for you guys that are looking for those little bits of information that will help you along, especially you newbies that are just starting out. This is quite a handy little tip. So when you're putting thin bar stock in your chuck, more often than not you'll never get it in there straight or parallel. It'll be flapping about in the breeze and it'll be wobbling all over the place. It's really difficult to true up just with your fingers. There's a couple of ways you can sort that out. You can make yourself some lathe spiders like these, which fit behind the work, and then you build up these pieces and stack it out, and then push it against that, and then your piece will be true. You can also put other pieces of a similar size behind there and push that down, and then it'll be true. Or you could push the actual piece into the chuck itself or up to the edges of the jaw section here, and that will true it. But then obviously you can't get in and around whatever you're doing. Sometimes you may want this a little bit proud, or you need to get access all the way around it. So yeah, that's the problem. So the fix is those two things, like I said. Or what I've done here is made myself a little tool that fits in the tool holder of my Dixon's quick change, and it's basically a piece of 15mm bar stock with a bearing super glued on the end, or press fit and super glued on the end. And the idea being there that when that bearing face touches up against the untrued piece of work, when you push it on there, it will push it into the chuck and true it up. Now obviously there's a couple of limitations there. The piece in your chuck has to be reasonably tight, but not too tight that you can't push it in with your bearing. On the other hand, it doesn't want to be too slack, otherwise it's going to come flinging off and hit you in the face, and that's the last thing you want. So it's a bit of a balancing act, and this bearing can be scaled up or down depending on the size. But this tip really only works with bar stock that's already been machined or has got a very good bandsaw cut parallel. If say this piece of brass had a cut like that, it'd be no good. You'd never get it true. So it has to be reasonably flat to start with. Also, it only really works on thin pieces. If something this thick was put in your chuck, chances are you'd true it up anyway, because it would true up naturally because it's quite wide, and it would just fit on the jaws in there until you tightened it up. So really it's only for small pieces. So let's give that a whirl. I've put that piece in there untrue, as you can see. I've put my little gizmo in the top slide, and we're going to use the compound slide here to wind it in and out. So we'll lock off the saddle. We'll make sure that the bearing is going to clear the chuck. This section is going to clear everything, and obviously your rear tool post as well if you've got one of those. So that's going to do that, and hopefully if I do that, hopefully the camera can pick up how bad a wobble it is. That you see the gap there, and now it's just touching. So let's give that a whirl. So we'll tighten that up, just tweak it enough for it to be pushed in, but not too slack it's going to come flying out, hopefully. So let's give it a go. So we can see that wobbling about. We're going to push that in slowly now. You'll hear a little ticking, obviously, as it hits and misses, and eventually the bearing should just run around nice and smoothly, which it's doing now. Back off your top slide. Buzzing here. There's always something buzzing, isn't there? Back off your top slide, you can see that's nice and true. So all you need to do now then is just tweak up your workpiece in there, and you're done. You can do any machining operations you want to do from there. Undo your top slide, your slide, sorry. So there you go folks, there's a nice quick little job. It's not a one thing fits all scenario, but it's one of those little tools that you could really put to use every now and then, I'm sure. So it's worth making up, and it's very quick to do. Cheers folks, have fun.